Let's follow the moves of the major corporations and watch as they buy and sell to have an insight into their dealings publicly. We can see if they are ahead of the trend as they usually are. This would give us a view into the future to be able to predict what is just about to happen. You came here for the truth. Recently, I did 2 videos about the Rothschilds and what they have been up to, so I thought it would be interesting to do some investigation into the Rockefellers. If you haven't seen those videos already, the links will be in the description of this one, so you can make sure to check those out. Let's begin. This is a 13F. It's available on the SEC's website. It shows you all of the holdings of all of these major corporations. You can see this publicly. Now, this happens to be the 13F of the Rockefeller Financial Services Inc., as well as the Rockefeller & Co. Inc. You can check these out if you wish, and any other corporation for that matter. But the SEC's website doesn't organize it well, and it's hard to see with a small font. So there are other websites out there which take all of the information from these 13Fs and organize them, give you good charts and analysis on that. So this happens to be whalewisdom.com, and one of the things that they do is the allocation in this chart here. 13F sector allocation over time. The one that I found particularly interesting was energy. Energy, with oil, for example, has been declining in price over the years here, and you have seen their allocation decline accordingly. Something very interesting, and they believe that this is not the way to go. That's at least the way it seems. What we also need to understand is that different companies, for example, with technology here, where the technology may remain fairly consistent, my belief is that they have been selling off certain companies and increasing their allocation into specific corporations, namely Google, namely Amazon, Facebook, and others. There is one particular company that stands out. Let's get into this right away. This is another website, Holdings Channel, and they show you a very similar thing here on their site as well. Look at this. Rockefeller Financial Services Inc. This is their top holdings. You will see a lot of red all the way down the board. That's very interesting. This is as of the end of June 2017. They are selling off Facebook, Oracle, Alphabet, Visa, Microsoft, and Amazon to different degrees. So it's important to note what they're selling. It's important to note the quantity, but also how much of that do they own in a percentage basis of their total portfolio. That's what's interesting. All 3 of those things need to be a factor for you, not just the total number of shares or the total dollar value. You need to understand how much of that is in their portfolio, because we're dealing with just them as an individual company. So remember that. And you'll notice a very specific pattern here. This is all tech. They're selling off tech big time. Now, this is important because tech had been rising recently, and they have probably wanted to take their profits. That's important. I mean, any corporation would do that. Any investor would do that. So this is important to note. However, it seems to be a growing trend, especially with one particular company. So let's get in closer on that. Back to whalewisdom.com, they show you this chart, all of the sells and buys that they've been doing. This is their holdings, and you will notice again red mostly across the board right here. It shows you as a percentage basis, and it shows you how many shares. It gives you all the breakdown. That's really good. One that's important to note is Microsoft. Now, they have just sold off a big percentage here, 15%. That's quite important to note. I believe that we look at Microsoft as a company that's competing against various other companies, but a lot of this is chasing the trend, and these companies are looking for more and more profit. So they have sold off 307,000 shares, and they are losing on their percentage basis compared to a company like Amazon, where they have sold off some of the shares, but to some degree, I mean, it's just a small percentage in relation. You're looking at 2% here. So I found this important. What I wanted to note is that we have particular trends here, that they have sold off on tech. That is for sure. They have decreased their portfolio within the energy sector. That's definite. And that they have been taking profits on their obvious gains that they have made in the tech sector recently. So that's all I wanted to get to for this. I found it informative, so I wanted to bring it to you. Make sure that you see those other videos on the Rothschilds as well. Make sure that you do your own investigation into any corporation you wish. You can see that either at Whale Wisdom, you can see that at Holdings channel. I will make sure to put the links in the description. Look under the sources here, and it is something that we need to pay attention to. Remember that these are the big guys. They know what's going on behind the scenes. They are dealing with the insider trading. They are able to determine what's going to happen before it actually does. So let's keep our finger on the pulse. We will be able to determine what's going to happen, at least to some degree. We can tell that this is an important corporation. The Rockefellers, the Rothschilds, they are important. We need to follow what they do and not necessarily base all of our decisions around them, but just to have that in the back of our mind and remember. So if you found this video informative, please give me a thumbs up. Last but not least, if you found the video informative, I know you will find my books, The Money GPS and my new release, Global Economic Collapse, even more informative. In the first book, I get into the 4 asset classes and how to profit from it. I talk about paper assets as well as real estate and precious metals and everything else. And you can look that up there, as well as the Global Economic Collapse. This is a much more condensed book. I get into familiar topics, but I also touch on becoming self-sufficient, reducing your monthly expenses, and solar panels and all of that type of business. So if you're interested in that, that's available in the links in the description below. Take care.